Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's broadcast as we have the Utica Unicorns and Westside Woolly Mammoths battling for just the second time this season. My name is Rich Borland, and in just a second, my partner Luke Hammett will join me. As we look on to this beautiful Saturday matchup, we are taking you back in time as it's 80s night at the ballpark as part of our WCSX Classic Rock Saturday. Let's take a look at our starting pitching matchup for tonight as it provides a fun matchup ahead as we have Josh Mason of the Westside Woolly Mammoths squaring off against Tyler Schwanz of the Unicorns, who is making his first start of the season. Mason might sound familiar to some of you Woolly Mammoth fans. Mason was the starter in the championship game last season as the Beavers took on those Mammoths and defeated them, but not because of Mason. Mason went 6.1 innings, had 5 strikeouts to 3 walks in a pretty good start, but unfortunately the Mammoths could not be victorious in their first opportunity at the championship crown. Mason in 2018, though, has made one start, which was back on May the 15th against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. He went 5 innings while giving up just 1 earned run on 4 hits. He had 2 strikeouts to no walks in the effort. His last outing was in relief on May the 19th versus these same Unicorns he will see tonight. Mason earned the win in just 2 innings while giving up no runs on 2 hits and struck out 2 as well. His opponent on the bump tonight wasn't who we thought it was going to be coming into today's action. Originally, the starter for the Unicorns was supposed to be Jesse Stinnett, but apparently he had woken up on the wrong side of the bed with some back stiffness, so instead, making his first start on the hill this year will be Tyler Schwanz, the hometown kid from Novi, Michigan. In his time so far with the Corns, Schwanz has made 4 relief appearances while tossing 5 innings. He's allowed 5 hits and 1 walk, but has struck out 8 batters and maintained a 3.60 ERA. To talk a little bit more about this pitching matchup, I'm going to send it over to my broadcasting partner for tonight, Mr. Luke Hammett. Luke, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Rich. We're going to start with the Unicorn starter in Tyler Schwanz. Schwanz is a 4-pitch arsenal for tonight's ball game. He has that 4-seam fastball, the 2-seamer, the circle change, and a slurve. So he developed that in high school. It was a curveball, but his arm slot kind of changed as he grew. He's 6'4", so that arm slot definitely changed for that slurve. That's his get-me-out pitch. We'll see that a lot in those 0-2 counts tonight. And Schwanz just looks to bounce back after his team fell 6-0 against those Hoppers last night.
Yeah, so let's go a little bit as we're getting ready here on the field with our starting lineups. Let's provide those starting lineups. Mr. Luke Hammett starting with the visiting Utica Unicorns.
Leading off for the Unicorns tonight is Spencer Ibarra. He's in right field. In left field and batting second is Carter Grote. Batting third is the big fella Dan Ward over at first base. Batting fourth is the designated hitter Chris Allen. He's off to a great start for the Unicorns. Batting fifth is Jimmy Latona. He's behind the dish tonight. Batting sixth at the hot corner is Brandon Larkin Guilfoyle. In center field and batting seventh is Justin Erlinson. Batting eighth and playing second base is Dylan Sprague. And at the shortstop position is the 9-batter Adrian Guzman.
And then on the other end for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, who come into tonight's action with a 1-2 record. Starting off in left field, the leadoff hitter, number 18, Tommy Fiesel. Batting second, the center fielder, number 19, Drew Kitson. Batting in the 3-hole, the first baseman, number 22, Brandon Cuddy. In the cleanup spot as the DH for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, number 10, Tyler Pagano. Batting fifth in right field, number 12, Ethan Whisker. Batting sixth, the second baseman, number 2, Jalen Lawson. In the 7-hole, number 3, the shortstop, Jordan Thomas. Batting eighth, behind the dish tonight for the Mammoths, number 25, Jackson Smith. I actually had seen his parents out in front of the stadium prior to tonight's game and prior to when gates were opening as we were having our pregame interviews down at the studio desk. So his parents are coming in from out of state trying to see their son play in a professional baseball game. Always a cool experience for anybody to be a part of. And then rounding out this Westside starting lineup over at third base, number 1, David Kimbrough II. So, Luke, as we look on to this matchup here, Unicorns sitting at 3-3, Westside Woolly Mammoths at 1-2. You mentioned that the Unicorns coming up off of a tough loss last night against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. I'm fortunate for Drew Kell and Robert Wykowski, who were able to make the call last night, as I was not able to be here for the matchup, but they did a good job, and they saw some offense from the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Luke, you were here up in the booth working the scoreboard with us. What were your impressions from last night's game?
Well, this was a great matchup between those two ball clubs, and really for the Unicorns, really nothing much you could do about it. Devin Alexander for the Hoppers was nearly unhittable. And Sebastian Diaz, the shortstop for the Hoppers, I don't think his ball has landed at that home run that he hit in left field, I still don't think it's landed yet.
So coming into this matchup here tonight, the Unicorns with just 2 hits in total in last night's matchup. Like you mentioned, that great starting performance from Devin Alexander of the Eastside Diamond Hoppers limited those Corns to just 2 hits last night. So got to imagine they're feeling amped up in a bounce-back effort here today against the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Mentioned both of these teams have just played against each other one time so far throughout the season, and looks like we're just about getting ready to finish up with our starting lineups for the home team, the Westside Woolly Mammoths. So we'll take a little break right here, get the anthem underway, and then when we come back, we will have first pitch here from Jimmy John's Field on this gorgeous Saturday, May the 26th. Like we mentioned, 80s night at the ballpark as a part of our WCSX Classic Rock Saturday. Once again, Rich Borland, Luke Hammett on the call here with you tonight. We got Unicorns, we got Mammoths getting ready for action, and we'll take it down to the field for the starting national anthem. We'll be right back.
Rise, remove your hats. Veterans and active military may keep your caps on while rendering the hand salute as we honor America and our military with a singing of our national anthem, performed this evening by Sam Hessick.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Spectacular job. Let's give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1-800-HAMSON's player of the game today is the Westside Woolly Mammoth, Ethan Whisker. And section 102 is the desired section. In section 102, if Ethan gets a hit tonight, you can visit the 1-800-HAMSON guest services area and receive a coupon for $1 off Dole Whip and one lucky fan.
So welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we're getting the starting pitcher for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, Mr. Josh Mason, finishing up with his warm-up pitches there out on the field. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for your broadcast tonight. Got an exciting matchup coming up underway, and, you know, for both of these teams, still early on in the season, still trying to make their names well-known, their teams showing off in front of these other guys. You know, you got 4 teams in this league. They'll be seeing each other quite often throughout the season, so I'm excited to see how this season turns out. You know, it's still early on, but a lot of talent out there on the ball diamond, as we mentioned, through the first 2 years. 20 players getting picked up by Major League affiliates, and it's only a matter of time before we start hearing some of these guys' names being picked up as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Josh Mason get picked up pretty soon here. He's just one of the most dominant pitchers that we have here in the USPBL, making his second start on the year tonight. He looks to have a bounce-back performance. I mean, up to his standards, he was kind of off, but, you know, he was still there He went 5 innings. He had only punched out 2 guys against those Birmingham Bluefield Beavers. He looks to be more dominant tonight and use that 12-6 curveball that he loves to feature when he gets ahead in the counts. He'll be sitting around 88, 90 miles an hour tonight.
So a recipe for success for Mr. Mason, who we mentioned was the starter in the championship game against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers to end the 2017 USPBL season. Like you heard right there, first pitch here tonight right at 7 o'clock sharp. It's 82 degrees here at the ballpark. You really couldn't ask for anything better, as Spencer Ibarra has started off with both a ball and a strike to his credit. 1-1 the count here. Mason with that high leg kick, and Ibarra hits a high fly ball out there to center field. Drew Kitson at the track, at the wall, and he makes the catch!
He did!
Are you kidding me? What a way to start this ball game! Drew Kitson ranged that ball down perfectly, jumps up and robs Spencer Ibarra of a home run.
Oh my goodness, that's the first time that I have seen this in person. Drew Kitson just put himself on SportsCenter. Rich, we say that every game, but tonight I actually believe it. First time all year.
No doubt about that. What a spectacular play there from Kitson in dead center field. Right around the 395 mark. He tracked that ball down from the instant that it was connected with. And what a start to this ball game. Some fans that are walking in late missed quite the start to this one.
We'll see it around midnight tonight on ESPN, but, you know, Kitson just played that ball perfectly.
And then look at this one. Another opportunity for Kitson in center field. This one a little bit easier of a play. Carter Grote is retired for out number 2, but how about starting this one off with a bang here? We had fireworks last night and kind of right where we left off.
Oh, yeah, Mason, definitely a big sigh of relief as he saw Kitson bring that one back in. He played that ball perfectly. He was reaching out for the wall out in center field. He knew that he had to time his jump perfectly. He jumped at the perfect time and brought that one back in to keep this ball game at 0-0. And, you know, both the top two guys for this Unicorns ball club, they're bailing up John Mason. So, you know, this Unicorn's got a lot of pop in their bat. But, you know, as long as Kitson makes those kind of plays, you know you're in good shape.
And how about that for Josh Mason, you know, coming into this one with a 1-0 record, got the win in a relief appearance against these Corns in the last time he was on the bump, as this 1-0 pitch to Dan Ward, called strike on the outside corner by home plate umpire Gary Wagenschutz. But, man, really couldn't ask for a better start to this baseball game. Sun shining down, perfect weather, perfect night for baseball, and just getting this one started off with a bang. Dan Ward on the 1-1 pitch looked to be that circle change or possibly that cut slider out of the hand of Mason, just forcing Ward to chase after it. Ward, the man out of Garfield Heights, Ohio, trying to keep the Corns alive here in this top half of the first inning. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, Rich Borland and Luke Hammett on the call here for you tonight. And you missed quite a catch out there in center field, as we're seeing more people hop onto the broadcast now, as Dan Ward ready for the 1-2. Nice pitch there from Josh Mason, that four-seam fastball high and inside on the hands of Ward. Couldn't do really anything with it but foul it off and stay alive in the count.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for such a better start than Dan Ward has gotten off to this season. He's hitting .360 with 2 home runs and 6 runs driven in.
As that breaking ball almost falling over the heart of the plate there, just didn't break in time, evens the count up at 2-2.
Shadow's definitely playing a big factor in this at-bat. Shadow's creeping up right towards the pitcher's mound.
Another breaking ball in there, this one missing low this time. So Dan Ward, after going down in the count early, has worked it all the way back into a full count, couple of foul balls in the process of getting here, and he ends up coming out victorious in that battle. A 2-out walk give the Unicorns their first base runner of the ball game.
Yeah, those Shadows are definitely going to be a huge factor. Rich, I don't know if you swung the stick a few times in your career, but, you know, the Shadows, the batter is definitely implanted in the shadow with the Shadows creeping up towards the pitcher's mound. So Mason, the ball's you're going to see the ball and it's going to disappear. So it's, you know, it's going to place a few mind games. Let's see how these Unicorns and the Mammoths adjust here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be it's imperative for Mason to get off to a good start, using the elements to his advantage here, but still can't get over that catch we saw from Drew Kitson to begin this ball game.
We'll see it a few more times throughout the night, definitely.
I certainly hope so.
We'll see that on the Twitter page at USPBL. Give us a quick follow. You'll see that play all night.
There you go. So now Chris Allen standing in here, looks at a couple different pitches, both of the missing the strike zone variety. Chris Allen, the Louisville, Kentucky native, batting as the designated hitter here tonight. Chris Allen off to a really good start this season for the Corns, as that ball looked to be off speed as well, missing the zone here. But on the season, Chris Allen switching off back and forth with Jimmy Latona behind the dish, who will be batting after him. Just don't know if he's going to bat this inning, and in fact he will. Back-to-back base on balls for Josh Mason, have him continuing this inning. And I'll tell you what, he gets the first two guys out with a couple of flyouts to dead center field. He could have gotten out of this inning 1-2-3 after that spectacular play from Kitson, but after a couple of those flyouts, he has had a little issue finding the strike zone. Back-to-back walks here, and now Jimmy Latona coming up to the plate.
Yeah, he's having trouble with his landing spot. We've seen him kicking around a few times. He's slipping when he's releasing the baseball. Let's see if he makes a few adjustments and lets go of this baseball a little bit early.
Yeah, he's going to have to, as Jimmy Latona stands in here now. He's got one home run on the season. It was actually back on our unofficial official opening day on May the 12th. Of course, our game that was supposed to be scheduled for May 11th, our opening night initially, was unfortunately rained out. So a good start to the season for Latona, who has a .250 batting average through 6 games thus far with the Unicorns. The 1-0 pitch called strike that was about right around that bottom right corner of the zone. Latona, a catcher, attesting to it. Home plate umpire, Mr. Gary Wagenschuts behind the dish. Ron Norquist, the base umpire for tonight's festivities. The 1-1 pitch looked to be a fastball inside. Latona couldn't do anything but foul it off out of play.
If I'm Josh Mason here, I'm going with that 12-6 curveball, and if you're Jackson Smith behind the plate, you're going to do everything that you can to stay in front of it. Ward's got some pretty good speed out there at second base. You don't want these guys advancing 90 feet.
The 1-2 for Mason, swung on and missed. There's that breaking ball, curveball, that put-out pitch from Mason. You saw him sort of shouting at himself, not happy with a couple of those walks, but he gets out of the inning unscathed, and we head to the home half of the first. Scoreless here at Jimmy John's Field. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett here for tonight's broadcast. Got Unicorns and Mammoths in action. The man on the mound for the Unicorns tonight, Mr. Tyler Schwanz. Schwanz with an 0-0 record through 4 relief appearances, a 3.60 ERA through 5 innings worth of work. He's allowed 2 earned runs on 5 hits, 1 walk, but 8 strikeouts to his credit. The hometown kid out of Novi, Michigan, ready to make his first start of his professional career here at the USPBL. Excited to see what he can do here tonight versus his counterpart, Josh Mason.
Yeah, we've seen Schwanz a few times this season out of the bullpen. He has 1 save recorded. We've seen him 5 times out of that bullpen, but tonight his first start. He's got 4 pitches, the 4-seamer, the 2-seamer, the circle change, and that serve that we mentioned earlier. The 6'4" righty looks to pound that fastball in the inside part of the play against these Westside Woolly Mammoths tonight.
So leading the charge for the Mammoths, Mr. Tommy Feasel. Tommy Feasel, the product out of Northwestern University, where he actually played football, was a record-setting quarterback back in high school as he gets out of the way of that one, and rightfully so. Last thing you want to see is Tommy Fiesel get hit in the head. He actually has had 5 concussions over his career, 3 of them happening at Northwestern in football, where he was actually a wide receiver. The high school quarterback turned to wide receiver, got a scholarship to Northwestern to play there, and unfortunately found out because of some of those concussions, he had actually had a life-threatening tanglement of some cords up in the head, in the brain, some brain stems that were tangled up, and it's just scary to think about. You're out there playing the game you love, and when you hear a life-threatening issue, you just think of it in a whole different light. And he's transitioned into this great game of baseball as the count is 2-2 here, and he's found himself a home here in Utica, Michigan with the Westside Woolly Mammoths. 2-2 pitch hit hard to the left side of the infield. Adrian Guzman with the routine put out. 1 up, 1 down here for the Mammoths in the home half of the first.
Yeah, good start for Schwanz. That fastball that he'll be pounding at the lower 90s. Got the ground ball from Fiesel. Good start for Schwanz, keeping Fiesel off these bases. He's already got 2 stolen bases this year. He's, as you mentioned, that wide receiver. Definitely a lot of wheels between Fiesel for the Westside Woolly Mammoths.
So another guy coming up to the plate who's got some wheels, Mr. Drew Kitson, the hero of the night thus far with that incredible catch. If you're just joining us here on the broadcast, Drew Kitson had a top 10 play nominee where he had robbed Spencer Ibarra of a leadoff home run here in this ball game. And what a night so far for Drew Kitson, the man out of Wentzville, Missouri, trying to get just his 2nd hit of the season thus far. So the defense has definitely been better than the offense through the first 3 games for the right-hander out of Missouri Baptist University. Just the 1 hit and 10 at-bats. He does have a run scored. 4 walks to his credit, 6 strikeouts. But like I mentioned, 2 stolen bases. So if he can get on base, he will become a threat. He's just got to be able to get out there on the base pass to start. Against Schwanz here, who delivers the 2-0 pitch. Fastball missing inside. So you got to be careful here now if you're Schwanz. Don't want to give this man opportunity on the base pass with just 1 out. And then Brandon Cuddy and Tyler Pagano coming up on deck here in the 3-4 spots. And look at that, 4 straight out of the hand of Schwanz. Not what you want to see if you're Jim Messian and company for the Unicorns. You wonder how long Schwanz will last here tonight. As we mentioned, in his first start of the season, he's made 4 relief appearances, but tonight being his first actual start, whole different mindset going into a baseball game when you're the starter compared to a reliever. You know, being a starter, you know you're going out there every 4th, 5th, 6th day, whatever you have, and you basically know when you're going to be pitching. But if you're a reliever, you got to come out every game, expect to be ready to show up at a moment's notice. And, you know, speaking of showing up at a moment's notice, Schwanz, of course, like we mentioned in the pregame, but if you're just joining us, he was not supposed to be the scheduled starter for tonight's ball game. It was actually Jesse Stinnett, but he had woken up with some back pain, probably just slept on it wrong. There was no previous issues. So they had expected Stinnett to start this ball game. As I say that, Brandon Cuddy on the 1-0 pitch, swings and misses through 1, but Kitson, like I mentioned, using those wheels that he's got underneath him, that's his 3rd stolen base of the year.
Yeah, you mentioned that Fiesel and Kitson both with 2 stolen bases. Now Kitson with his 3rd. Schwanz definitely wanted to keep those guys off the bases because putting one of those guys on is a recipe for disaster.
And so on the 1-1 pitch, Brandon Cuddy can't do anything but stare at it. The count now 1-2 on the left-hander. Brandon Cuddy, the first baseman and outfielder over at first base tonight. He actually hits it over there as I say it. So Dan Ward retires Brandon Cuddy for out number 2, but moving over to third base, 90 feet closer to scoring, is Kitson with Pagano coming up to the plate.
You look at that as almost kind of like a sacrifice. You're a big left-handed batter with a runner on second. You want to put that ball on the right side of the field, and that's exactly what Cuddy did. Gets Kitson 90 feet closer to scoring a run.
A productive out indeed there, Mr. Hammett. Now he gives way to Tyler Pagano, who has an opportunity to put the Mammoths on the board for the first time here tonight. Looks at a ball that misses outside of the zone. Schwanz trying to get out of this half inning unscathed, and he just might. This ball hit high, but it looks like it'll find the stands right in front of us. And a fan right in front of me making a lucky catch right there. Nice job from them. Sign them up.
That's the first play that we've seen a fan had to make out here towards us. As we mentioned that the protective netting goes up very high here at the USPBL, making the ball virtually impossible to come our way, but big fan, big time play out there.
And then meanwhile on the 1-1 pitch, there's that slurve that you talked about. We'll see Tyler Schwann's go-to, brings the count to 1-2. That go-to pitch in the low 90s is lethal, and there it is once again. This time contact being made from Pagano, but stays out of the foul lines down that third base line. We'll do it all over again here on the 1-2.
That's back-to-back slurs that Schwanz has thrown to Pagano. As we mentioned, that's his pitch. He likes to throw that when he's ahead in the count. Would you go back to that same pitch here for the third straight time?
Honestly, no. That's exactly what I'd be expecting if I was the batter up at the plate. You got 3 pitches to work with only 1 ball up there. I would try maybe a 2-seam in on the hands, either low or high, and then maybe go back to that slurve as a setup. But we'll see what he brings here. And look at that, Luke, you were right. He actually does go back to it. So Pagano chases after that breaking ball for the third and final out. Drew Kitson, the man of the hour so far, got that walk, stolen base, but was left on third. We're through 1 inning of play. Unicorns and Mammoths scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett here for your broadcast on this beautiful 26th of May. Just getting ready to finish out this month. We've had a lot of rain. We've had some sun, but, you know, day by day we're getting a little bit closer to official baseball weather. I think it's about set in stone here. Meanwhile, Brandon Larkin Guilfoyle stands in for the first time here tonight. Guilfoyle having to deal with Josh Mason, who's out there for his second inning of work. A ball that misses inside and then a strike that gets the outside corner have the count even at 1-1. Larkin Guilfoyle in his second season here with the Unicorns. Just his 15th game overall, though. He had 11 games in 2017, went 7 for 35 at the plate. Just a 200 average in those 11 games. Couple of doubles, couple of home runs, 6 RBIs, 7 walks, 6 strikeouts. And then so far this season, he's 2 for 9 through the 3 games that he has participated in. 3 runs to his credit, 2 walks, no strikeouts just yet. So a good eye up at the plate here in 2018 in Mr. Larkin Guilfoyle, as you see it evident right there. He looks at the 1-2 pitch low and away to even it up at 2-2.
Yeah, Guilfoyle's been a pleasant surprise for the Unicorns, a .222 batting average for number 22.
Hitting a line shot, but right into the mitt of Jordan Thomas. A really nice at-bat from Larkin Guilfoyle. He did about as good as he could have gotten with that baseball bat. Hard line drive. It just, unfortunately for him, found the mitt of Jordan Thomas, who barely even had to make a step.
He hit the ball hard. That's all you could ask for. But just a better play there by Thomas.
So now Justin Erlinson stands in. Mentioned how this Utica Unicorn team only had 2 hits in last night's contest with the Diamond Hoppers as Erlinson looks at a called strike to begin his at-bat. The man who just was recorded for the lineout, Mr. Larkin Gafoyle, had one of those 2 hits last night. And then Erlinson, look at that, first opportunity of the night, putting it back up the middle, right on cue, base knock right there for the starting center fielder.
Yeah, he took advantage of that hanging breaking ball that Mason just delivered to him, and Erlinson just drove it right back up the box. Great piece of hitting right there by Erlinson.
Yeah, bad mistake there from Mason. You had Erlinson ahead in the count 0-1, and then you brought something over the heart of the plate that Erlinson just took complete advantage of, and we'll see if he can do anything out on the base pass as Dylan Sprague now stands into the batter's box from the left side, looks at a called strike to begin this at-bat. Dylan Sprague, a familiar face here with these Utica Unicorns in his second season, was a participant in 25 games last year, had 76 at-bats, 20 hits in those 25 games. Good enough for a 263 average. Sprague looking at that 1-1 pitch, high and inside, getting out of the way of that one. The count now 2-1 on the batter. Over there on first base, Justin Erlanderson, no steals yet on the season. It's going to be a tough play to get to. Lawson over to Thomas and then over to first. The 4-6-3 put out. Look at that spectacular defensive scheme from the middle infield. Both Lawson and Thomas retire Erlinson and Sprague for the second and third out. We'll head to the home half of the second, knotted up at nothing. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for your broadcasters for tonight's contest. Out there on the bump, Mr. Tyler Schwanz with his second inning of work. He'll have to deal with the 1-800-Hanson's player of the game, Mr. Ethan Whisker. Whisker, the right fielder here. 1-0 pitch, a line drive, hard hit ground ball just past the diving second baseman, Dylan Sprague. And now section 102 here at the ballpark will go to our guest services to pick up a gift certificate. So shout out to 1-800-Hanson's for providing that. And Westside Woolly Mammoths getting off to a start that they would like here in this home half of the second inning. First hit of the ball game for the team. And now Jalen Lawson stands in. Jalen Lawson on the season batting just 167. Man out of Troy, Alabama. Trying to get things going here. Just 1 of 6 through the first 3 games that he has played here this season. He's got a good count starting off here against the right-hander Schwanz, 2-0. Schwanz gives a small look over there to Whisker at first. Lawson with a big hack on the 2-0 pitch. Can't make contact with it, or at least good contact, I should say. It fouls off into the protective netting behind home plate.
Yeah, Lawson might not be getting it done in the box, but Richie's been definitely doing a fantastic job over there at second base for this ball club, as he was the one that was responsible for that double play ending the inning last inning.
Lawson on the 2-1 pitch looks at I believe that was a slurve that just slid out of the zone. So a nice eye there from Lawson to work a great hitter's count as it's 3-1 here now. Schwanz the kick, the delivery, and Lawson with a really nice at-bat. Leadoff single for Whisker leads to a no-out walk from Lawson, and now Schwanz in a world of trouble as he's going to have to deal with Jordan Thomas, and nobody out, 2 runners on.
Yeah, both guys, both starters for the respective ball clubs have been really having some trouble pounding the zone tonight. Schwanz's ratio now is up to 15 balls, up to 11 strikes. So, you know, not all that well, but, you know, you just got to keep pounding the zone, work ahead of these guys, and good things will happen for you.
Yeah, in the end, motive, don't let anybody score, of course, but when you're throwing more balls than strikes, it'll eventually catch up to you. But he starts off Jordan Thomas here swinging and missing, and then a quick pitch on the 0-1, misses inside there. Thomas on the season, 3 of 12 through the first 3 games this year, one of those 3 hits being a double. Does have a walk to his credit, 3 strikeouts and 2 stolen bases. 1-1 pitch from Schwanz, fouled off into the protective netting here behind home plate. But I like these jerseys here from the Mammoths. You got the white insides with the blue arm sleeves. You got the Woolly Mammoth logo on the shoulders. Unicorns in their visiting purple uniforms. Breaking ball, there's that slurve. Could not find the inside frame. Home plate umpire Gary Wagenshut says that one just slid in there a little too late. So count even at 2-2 here. But if you're Schwanz, you don't want to get into a full count here with 2 runners on. Of course, no outs, so they won't officially be going, but they'll be ready to go at a moment's notice. Thomas trying to stay alive in the count here in his first plate appearance. There's that slurve, and he went around, in fact. Had his argument with the home plate umpire. Tries to state his claim, but he will head back to the dugout for out number 1. Nice job by Schwanz to get out of this jam, at least for now. But now he'll deal with Jackson Smith, the starting catcher here for the Mammoths.
It's a huge out for Schwanz. Now with he just dodged a bullet, having 1 and 2 with guys on base with no outs. Now there's 1 out. Now a ground ball gets him out of this inning.
Jackson Smith, the left-hander out of Salem, Oregon. His parents are actually at the ball game tonight. They flew in to watch their son play professional baseball. Man out of Corbin University, playing in his 3rd game here with these Westside Woolly Mammoths. A broken bat base knock. It'll go off the first base bag, go over the head of Dan Ward, which is not easy to do. And the run will come into score. Motoring around from second base is Ethan Whisker. And you got to imagine that's going to go down in the books as a base knock and an RBI for Jackson Smith. Just a really circumstantial, unfortunate events there for Dan Ward and the Unicorns. My only advice for Dan Ward, I guess, charge it a little bit faster to not let that ball play you, but tough spot right there. Runners now on the corners. Jalen Lawson motored all the way around from first to third, and Jackson Smith doing his job, brings in the first run of the ball game. It's 1-0 Mammoths.
Yeah, Smith will definitely take the base hit there, but if you're Ward, you know that ball is going to trickle across the bag. You got to get right in front of that first base, field that cleanly, and turn that double play. Ward just decided to take the risk and play the hop, but the ball took advantage of Dan Ward, and it leads to a Woolly Mammoth run.
So now David Kimbrough, the second, standing in. Really nice opportunity here for the right-hander out of Atlanta, Georgia. Already down in the count here, 0-1 after fouling off a pitch, and there's that slurve once again right over the heart of the plate. Kimbrough frozen up a little bit on that one. The count now 0-2 on the right-hander. Schwanz back to work. There it is again. Back-to-back slurves, but it's going to be a tough play out there in center field. Nice job by Erlinson to make the catch, and an even better job from Tyler Schwanz playing his position as a fielder, backing up that play at home. Erlinson makes the catch, threw that ball on a run, threw that ball just a little too far for Jimmy Latona's liking, but doing a really nice job right there. Schwanz allows runners to stay at first and third. Jalen Lawson was ready to come home, but Tyler Schwanz had other plans, so just a routine flyout to center field retires Kimbrough the second. So we head back to the top of this West Side order in Tommy Fiesel. Fiesel gets started off with a fastball that misses outside. 1-0 the count on the left fielder. Fiesel grounded out to Adrian Guzman to begin this ball game. There's that slider again, maybe a play over at first. Looked like the ball had beaten Jackson Smith to the bag, but I don't think Dan Ward got that tag in time. So he'll stay alive over there, but definitely on his toes now is Smith. Meanwhile, the count on Fiesel, 2-0 here. 2-0 pitch, lined in foul territory. So everybody will stay at their respective spots. Infield, outfield for the most part playing at normal depth here. Right fielder Spencer Ibarra shaded pretty far off of that right field line after seeing Fiesel take one down that right field line in foul territory on the previous pitch, but a ground ball over to the left side. Brandon Larkin Guilfoyle on the run makes the play for the third and final out, but the Mammoths get a run on a couple of hits here in the home half of the second. We head to the third. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for your broadcasters this evening. Jared Katz up in the booth with us, working on stats and scoreboard and everything that makes this broadcast go here up in the booth. Got starting pitcher Josh Mason back out for his third inning of work through the first two innings here. He's got one strikeout, couple of walks, but had a really nice double play committed by his middle infielders, both Jalen Lawson and Jordan Thomas, that ended the unicorn threat in the top half of the second. But the number 9 hitter, Adrian Guzman, in here now to lead things off for the Corns in the third. Guzman has looked at 3 straight pitches, 1 for a strike and then 2 for a couple of balls. Guzman on the season batting .333 thus far. Just 3 hits, so 3 for 9 on the season. But Guzman, a guy who can use his speed to his advantage. And he'll do it right here. Ground ball down that left field line. It's going to easily be 2. Let's see if it'll be 3. Sliding into that corner down in the left field area was Tommy Fiesel. Gets that baseball real quick, throws it in to Jalen Lawson. And Adrian Guzman with a leadoff double here for the Corns, have them threatening with nobody out.
That's exactly why Guzman is in that 9 hole. Uses kind of that second leadoff hitter to get that thing, get on base and let the top of the lineup take care of business and do what they do, especially with Spencer Ibarra, as he was from that 6th slot, moved up to that leadoff spot tonight. Let's see how Ibarra responds here with a guy in scoring position.
Yeah, Ibarra, like you mentioned, in the middle of that lineup last night against the Hoppers. He went 0 for 3, but moved back up into this leadoff spot. Man out of Fort Collins, Colorado, trying to get the Corns on the board here as they trail this one 1-0. If you're just joining us, the Westside Woolly Mammoths with an RBI single off the bat of Jackson Smith in that home half of the second inning that drove in Ethan Whisker. So where we stand as of right now. Meanwhile, Josh Mason, back to the top of this Utica order we go. Ibarra even in the count at 1-1. Mason with that high leg kick, sort of a slow motion. You wonder if the Unicorns base runners will try and pick up on that here this evening at all, as nice pitch right there from Mason. Fastball on the outside corner. He gave a long, nice look at Guzman over there at second base. Really crucial part, being a successful pitcher, attacking that running game. And, of course, that art of pitching.
Most definitely the art of pitching. Mason doing a great job of that tonight.
There's that circle change on the outside half of the plate. Couldn't be called for a strike. Evens the count up at 2-2. Spencer Ibarra in his first plate appearance started this game off on a hot note where Drew Kitson had made a top 10 play nominee, robbing Ibarra of a solo shot. Meanwhile, this 2-2 pitch in on the hands of Ibarra. Couldn't do anything with it but fouled off and actually went over our heads here in the press box. And as I take a look down in our grandstands in front of us, a lot of faces turning around to see where that baseball went. We got a pretty packed grandstands here tonight.
Oh, yeah, the lawn is filled up nicely. It's just a packed house here tonight at the USPBL Jimmy John's Field.
On the 2-2 pitch, Ibarra going with the pitch out into left field. Tommy Fiesel's going to toss one in, but not in time. Adrian Guzman hit with that leadoff double. He comes in to score on the RBI single from Spencer Ibarra, and just like that, Unicorns have tied this one up at 1.
A great piece of hitting right there by Spencer Ibarra. The fastball just got too far in on the hand, so he had to shorten up that swing and barrel it off into left center field. Guzman did a great job of reading that thing off the bat, noticing it was going to drop, and he hustled around and scored easily to tie this thing up at 1.
So for Jim Essien and these Unicorns, it's proof pivotal that Spencer Ibarra now in this leadoff spot. He had almost a home run in his first plate appearance, and now the RBI single to his credit that drives in Guzman. And speaking of leadoff hitters, Carter Grote, who had pretty much been the leadoff hitter throughout this entire season up until today, was 1 for 3 last night against the Hoppers, had one of the 2 hits for this entire Unicorn team as a whole, but also had 2 strikeouts to his credit. So he moves down 1 spot. Maybe he'll be a little bit more comfortable not having to start off every game or a lot of innings, and maybe have somebody on base that he can move over or move in. But Grote even on the count here 1-1 as he fouls off that last pitch out of play.
Yeah, why not move Ibarra up in that lineup? Rich has his 9th RBI this season, so sensational numbers here for Spencer Ibarra to start his 2018 season.
Yeah, the man out of Ohio University, part of that 2016 Mid-American Conference Championship team. But I spoke with Ibarra about that in years past. Of course, me being a Chippewa out of Central Michigan, former Chippewa, I should say. So I graduated back in December, but talked with Ibarra. They ended up winning the Mid-American Conference, but the Chippewas actually swept them in their regular season series, so I still have that on him. Meanwhile, on the 2-1 pitch, Carter Grote fouls it off out of play near Auburn Road, which is the road that this great ballpark has been established next to, just off of M59 here in Utica, right near Mound and Van Dyke in this great state of Michigan. If you haven't been to the park yet, I suggest you should. As this ball hit to the left side, can we see another double play? I was thinking it was going to be another 6-4-3 putout, but Jordan Thomas takes that one all on his own. It's another Trico double play here. That's the second one of the night for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, and they're just doing a really nice job. But it all starts with Josh Mason throwing those ground balls out there.
Yeah, Jordan Thomas, that ball was hit a little bit hard enough for him to take that thing himself. He noticed that, stepped in the inside part of the base like you're supposed to, take a step to his left and fire across to get Carter Grote by about 10 feet. So sensational play by Jordan Thomas, and Mason's getting a lot of help out of this defense tonight.
Yeah, and Grote, not the easiest guy to get out on a double play. Grote does have speed to his credit, and we almost saw another diving catch right there. David Kimbrough fully extended out to his right. We might have a play at second base, and look at that. Thomas Fiesel with a no-doubter. Line drive throw right to the bag. Dan Ward had the single, but was thrown out by a mile out there at second base. He tested the arm from Fiesel, and Fiesel came prepared and absolutely just threw a great shot right there to second base to end the inning. Unicorns get a run, though. They tie it up at 1. We head to the home half of the third. Mammoths coming up to the plate. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for your broadcast here tonight. Back out for his third inning of work, Mr. Tyler Schwanz, the hometown product out of Novi, Michigan. Out there dealing with Drew Kitson, who had that top 10 play nominee to start off this ball game, robbing Spencer Ibarra of a leadoff home run to begin this ball game. Kitson's shown a lot with the glove and a lot with the speed so far this season. Walked and had a stolen base to his credit back in the first, but we've yet to really see what he can do with the bat. Just one hit through 3 games here with the Westside Woolly Mammoths. But batting in that 2 spot, you got to imagine Shane McCaddy and this coaching staff clearly trust what this man can do at the plate. We're just waiting for him to get a little comfortable up there, I believe.
Oh, most definitely. I'm surprised. We'll probably see Kitson bounce around this lineup for the Mammoths. So you could bat leadoff, you could put him in the 9 slot. But I think they're more comfortable with him at batting second here tonight.
And then how about that put-out pitch there from Mr. Tyler Schwanz? We talked about it during the pregame. That put-out pitch, the slurve, just defiled Drew Kitson right there. Took him out of his shoes, and that swing definitely was ugly. Nice start there for Schwanz after his teammates got a run in the home or in the top half of the third inning here. And now he's working with that tie. You wonder how long Schwanz will go. As I mentioned, this is his first start of the season. 4 relief appearances coming into play today, but the first actual start for the right-hander. He'll deal with Brandon Cuddy now as that fastball called strike in on the hands. But like we mentioned in the pregame, Schwanz was not our starter, or at least what we thought when we started this day here today. It was supposed to be Jesse Stinnett. Woke up with some back pain. It was a little tight, and he tried to work the kinks out, but unfortunately could not by the time he was trying to get ready for this ball game. So Schwann's stepping up to the mound and doing a really nice job so far. He's got the count now 1-2 on Cuddy after that strike is looked at.
Yeah, he really did not know that he was going to be towing the slab for the Unicorns tonight. When I talked to him, he just found out, so that one gets away. But yeah, he just found out when he got to the ballpark, and you know he's doing some great things minus those 2 walks. Schwann's has been absolutely phenomenal tonight.
No action in either bullpen. Both bullpens fairly empty, actually. Looks like every player with these 2 combined teams in the dugout. So we're going to be seeing Schwann's as well as Mason probably for about as long as they can go tonight. And I don't know about you, Luke, but I'm a big fan of pitching matchups, and when pitchers duel, those are my favorite types of baseball games.
Oh yeah, we've seen a few of them this season already. Last night, the score might not have reflected it, but Gio Abreu for the Unicorns was great. He struck out 10, and Devin Alexander was virtually unhittable last night for the Hoppers. So, you know, we've seen a few great pitching matchups in one here tonight as well.
And just missing on the inside corner there was Schwann's. Brandon Cuddy with a really nice eye up at the plate. Reaches base safely here with 1 out. And now Tyler Pagano coming up to the plate. He had struck out swinging to end the first inning of play. Tyler Pagano coming to us from Pinkerton, Ohio. Tyler Pagano, a outfielder by trade, but has seen a lot of designated hitting roles. He actually comes to us from Oakland University, so not necessarily a home away from home, as Oakland just a few miles up the road in Rochester, where our headquarters are actually for the USPBL. Our offices, 400 Water Street. General Sports, Mr. Andy Appleby, our president of this USPBL, creating great moments, and might see one here as the left fielder, that was Carter Grote, lays out for that baseball on the 0-2 pitch. Pagano will end up getting safe over there at first base, and it'll most likely be a single. That ball was hit fairly softly. You saw Carter Grote was playing back against Pagano, and he ran in as fast as he possibly could, but on that diving effort, just couldn't corral that baseball into the mitt. Nice effort there from Pagano, just couldn't come up with it. So runners now on first and second. Ethan Whisker standing in here now, and you saw that what we think is the put-away pitch from Tyler Schwann's, the slurve, but he starts off Whisker with a quick pitch, and just simply unfair. There it is once again. Whisker trying to time it up a little bit better there, but he was a little bit late, fouls it off out of play. So he's down here 0-2, so you get back-to-back slurves. You know he's working with it all night long, throwing it about 60 to 70% of the time here tonight. Haven't really seen much of the circle change. Seen a few fastballs, but predominantly Schwann's has been getting guys out with that slurve.
And that's his get me out pitch, so let's see if we see it right here.
This ball lofted, might stay in play as there's a lot of room down that right field line. The right fielder, that was Spencer Ibarra, was right at that protective netting in that wall area where the wall actually goes back towards the field of play, and he simply just didn't have the right approach. You're supposed to run over, find the wall, and then find the baseball. He was kind of looking at both at the same time, sort of hesitated, and got over to that area, just couldn't get to the ball in time. So Whisker stays alive, at least for now, as the count is 0-2 still, here with 1 out, 2 men on. Brandon Cuddy reached on the 1-out walk, and then Pagano with the single. He's over at first. This ball sat on and hit to left field, but making the catch is Carter Grote. Looked to be a little bit hesitant on his approach, where that line drive kind of froze him for a second, as those ones that are hit right to you, the toughest ones to make a play on, but a good job there from Grote to retire Whisker for out number 2.
Yeah, toughest play in baseball for the outfielders just to make that play. That one was hit right at Carter Grote. He did a good job of staying back on it, make a nice play on it. Whisker barreled it up nicely. Now the Mammoths are threatening here with 2 outs. Schwann's here's a big at bat.
Yeah, big battle here between Schwann's and Jalen Lawson. Lawson had walked on 5 pitches back in the 2nd inning, and he's got Schwann's ahead in the count here 1-0. The 1-0 pitch fouled off. And actually, maybe it was not fouled off. It looked like, from our vantage point, that Lawson had made contact with that baseball. Home plate umpire Gary Wagenschutz says that it actually went off of the glove of Jimmy Latona and not the bat. Looked as if Tyler Schwann's was trying to plead his case with the home plate umpire, but he got reassurance from his first base umpire, Mr. Ron Norquist, and in fact, those runners will move up 90 feet, so a whole lot tougher of a situation for Schwann's, and this ball lofted into the left center area, and the center fielder, did he make the catch? No, he did not. Jalen Lawson was almost robbed of a home run, but it gets just over the reach and grab of Justin Erlinson out there in center field. We saw Drew Kitson make a tremendous robbing of a home run, but this one getting just out of the reach of Justin Erlinson. Jalen Lawson drives in 3 with 1 swing of the bat, and the Mammoths, just like that, take the 4-1 lead.
Yeah, Erlinson nearly tumbled over the center field wall. Kind of reminded me of that Torrey Hunter play a few years ago with the Detroit Tigers. But, you know, Lawson barreled up the fastball, that guy in on the hands, perfectly drove it right underneath the scoreboard, out in left center field to give the Mammoths a 4-1 lead. Great piece of hitting right there by Jalen Lawson.
If only the sheriff of Utica was standing out there with his 2 hands in the air, you know. But, yeah, that's a tough memory for Tiger fans, as, of course, we got Jared Katz, Boston native, sitting up here in the booth with us, so he's getting a kick out of that. But what a game so far from these Westside Woolly Mammoths. We've seen some defensive gems, and now that 3-run home run from Jalen Lawson have them up 3, and Jordan Thomas trying to continue this half inning of work here for the Mammoths. Tyler Schwann's continuing to work here, and that's a tough part about baseball. You give up a giant home run, put your team down 3, and you got to go back out there and continue to work. He's got Jordan Thomas ahead here in the count 1-2. There's that slurve again. Swung on and missed, dropped 3rd strike, but the strikeout is completed via the 2-3 putout. Thomas is retired for the 3rd and final out, but Jalen Lawson with that 3-run home run puts the Mammoths up by 3. It's 4-1 as we're through 3 innings of play here at Jimmy John's Field. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett on the call with you. We head to this top of the 4th inning. The 4, 5, 6 batters due up for the Unicorns in a must-needed offensive power outage here. We got the Corns down 3 runs, 4-1 if you're just joining us. Jalen Lawson with a 3-run home run in that home half of the third gives the Mammoths the 3-run lead. Chris Allen walked in his first plate appearance, gets a broken bat hit over to the left side of the infield where David Kimbrough will retire him for out number 1. 5-3 put out retires Allen. That brings up Jimmy Latona.
We've seen a few broken bats here tonight, and that perfectly resembles how these two guys are pitching. They're pounding the zone with that fastball that's around 90, 91 miles an hour, and it's getting in on the hands, which is forcing guys to, short up their swing and gain that thing, trying it on the barrel, but, they're hitting out the handle, which is forcing them to shatter their bat, and, that's the art of pitching.
No doubt about that. I mean, you got guys standing up on the plate, might as well go inside with it, and we've seen that time and time again here as Mason continues to work. Now with that 3-run lead, talked about his stats coming into play today. He's got Latona quickly down 0-2 here, but coming into play today through 2 outings, 1 start, he's got a 1-0 record through 7 innings as Latona holds off on that 0-2 fastball that misses high. But I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Josh Mason so far this year. The 1-0 record through the 2 games he's been a part of, a 1.29 ERA, as that fastball just missed painting that outside corner. You saw Mason trail off of the bump right there to not walk off the field necessarily, but maybe give a little carousel around the mound as he was ready to see his players throw the baseball around. But he'll have to go back and battle against Latona here. There's that curveball he tries to put him away with, but Latona gets just enough of it and fouls it off to stay alive. But he is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Latona, who was in the 2-hole last night against the Hoppers, went 0 for 3, did have a walk, but struck out twice, trying to avoid his second strikeout of the night. He will, as this ball is hit high, but definitely playable for Drew Kitson. Underneath it, makes the play for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Corns here in this top half of the 4th.
One of the easier plays that Kitson has had to make tonight.
Yeah, he's used his wheels. He's shown that he can make plays out of nothing. And now Brandon Larkin-Guilfoyle stands in. Was 1 for 3 last night. Had 1 of the 2 hits for the entire Unicorn staff as a whole last night. Looks at a called strike on the outside part of the plate. Lined out to Jordan Thomas back in the 2nd inning. Really nice piece of hitting, but just right at the glove. And there's another one, and it's going to be the exact same thing just out there to right field to Ethan Whisker. Brandon Larkin-Guilfoyle with good contact just keeps hitting it right to the leather. So we're through 3.5 innings of play. Mammoths out in front by 3. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for your ball game tonight. To the home half of the fourth we go. Tyler Schwanz, the starting pitcher for the Unicorns tonight, is done. He goes 3 innings, allows 4 earned runs on 4 hits, had 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. But that killer that ended his night, Jalen Lawson, that 3-run home run that drove in himself, Tyler Pagano, and Brandon Cuddy, have taken him out of this game, and that gives way to Will Marshall, the 5'4", 155-pounder out of Dallas, Texas, but he's been one of the most impressive guys on this entire roster this season from a pitching standpoint, and you know what, from a league standpoint as well. Jackson Smith, the batter, leading the way for the Woolly Mammoths here in this home half of the fourth. Fouls the second pitch he sees off. He's quickly down in the count here, 0-2, but that's the thing about Will Marshall. He throws a lot of strikes. He gets ahead of a lot of hitters, and that's a recipe for success. He's got 4 relief appearances under his belt, 5 innings pitched as that slider is lofted into shallow left center field, but it looks like Carter Grote will be able to make the play, and that he does on the run. 1 up, 1 down here for Will Marshall, and let's talk a little bit about that man, or should I say that dog, out there on the diamond. Mr. JJ, the field general, doing his job. You see him following off onto the left side of your screen right there. One of the many facets of this USPBL that just goes to show you exactly what they do here at the ballpark. JJ, the field general, one of the fan favorites here at the ballpark, doing his job right there. Nice job of JJ to fetch that baseball bat. That gives way to David Kimbrough the second. 0 for 1 on the night with a fly out to dead center field. Looks at a called strike to begin this at-bat, but Will Marshall on the season in those 5 innings, a 1-1 record. He's allowed 5 hits, 2 walks. He hasn't had a strikeout, so pitching to contact is the way that Will Marshall gets guys out. He gets a lot of fly ball outs that you'll see throughout the contest and throughout the season. He doesn't have a lot of heat behind him, but he's crafty, and we can say it time and time again, the art of pitching. He's got it down to a T. That high leg kick, there's that slider. Hit out to right field where Spencer Ibarra comes underneath it to make the easy out. Back-to-back flyouts. They have the first 2 hitters for the Mammoths retired as we go back to the top of this order in Tommy Fiesel.
Yeah, Will Marshall's kind of built like myself. You know, smaller guy, 5'4". The only difference is that he throws about 40 miles an hour faster than I do. So, you know, it's a good thing that Will Marshall's out there. He's showing up for the little guys. So it's a great thing to have in this league.
Yep. Size doesn't measure heart, and Will Marshall, a great story here, playing in professional baseball at the size that he's at. Gives you hope, Luke. Don't quit. You know, you're still in high school, you know, senior in high school. Taking advantage of your opportunity, calling games here and working as a broadcasting intern, getting your foot in the door early, and but still playing as well. So Tommy Fiesel, meanwhile, for the 3rd time tonight, hits a ground ball over there to Adrian Guzman and gets taken out. So 3 6-3 putouts for Thomas Fiesel here tonight. 3 up, 3 down for Will Marshall in the home half of the fourth. We head to the 5th. Mammoths out in front by 3. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett with your broadcast. We head to the top half of the fifth inning. Got the 7, 8, 9 hitters due up for the Unicorns. It'll be Justin Erlinson to lead things from the right side of the batter's box. Josh Mason out there for his fifth inning of work. If he can get past this fifth inning, it'll be the longest outing of the season, but trouble early. Justin Erlinson, could it be? Yes, it could. A leadoff solo shot for the Corns here in the fifth. Cut the lead to 2.
Erlinson, he's seen 2 pitches all day. Both of them have been barreled up perfectly. This one leaving the ballpark right over the left field wall. Erlinson, have yourself a night, big fella.
And I'll tell you what, Luke, just this game of baseball, I'm a firm believer in being aggressive when you're leading off an inning. You got to imagine the pitcher who's coming out there, he's working with the lead. He's going to be throwing a strike. You got to be ready for it. That's exactly what Justin Erlinson did. He did everything he could with that baseball, and he comes in to score second hit of the night. He was 0 for 3 last night with 3 strikeouts, so a big improvement for that man right there. And as I was talking about, you wonder how long Josh Mason will last here tonight. Of course, right on cue, gives up the home run. Meanwhile, Dylan Sprague standing in here now. Count was 1-1 before he had fouled that pitch off over our heads here in the press box. And Sprague on the 1-2 offer. Mason, a couple of shakeoffs to his catcher, Jackson Smith, but comes and delivers this ground ball just past the outstretched glove of the first baseman, Brandon Cuddy. That one rolls into the right field area. Sun starting to set here at the ballpark. Mentioned it's 80s night here at Jimmy John's Field as a part of our WCSX Classic Rock Saturday. And that breaking ball on the outside part of the plate freezes Sprague for the strikeout, out number 1. And that'll give way to Adrian Guzman, who doubled and scored back in the third.
Yeah, good things happen when you work ahead of your opponents. Mason did a great job right there. He got ahead, so you know when you're ahead, no one on base, you can really toy around with these guys. And Mason did that just perfectly against Dylan Sprague. He did that breaking ball, bounced it in perfectly where Sprague went fishing for it.
So now Adrian Guzman stands in. Like we mentioned, had that double and scored the first run of the ball game for the Corns back in the third inning on that RBI single from Spencer Ibarra. Guzman quickly down in this count 0-2. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Josh Mason. Even though he gave up that leadoff home run to Erlinson, he's thrown a lot of strikes. He's thrown 1 ball this inning. Had the 1-2 count against Dylan Sprague before he had him retired. And now quickly ahead of Adrian Guzman, 0-2 here. Just loving what we're seeing from Mason, continuing to attack this strike zone as that breaking ball drops in just not early enough, and the count 1-2 on the batter. One-two pitch, fouled off into the grandstands here, so a fan will get a lucky souvenir. Speaking of souvenirs, we got a new souvenir truck down our right field line, down our walkways, and lots of options for you to choose from. Men's, women's, children's, you name it, we got it. Shirts, hats, foam fingers,
Jerseys,
mini bats, jerseys, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of options for fans to represent and show out for their favorite teams here at Jimmy John's Field. The 2-2 pitch, low and inside, so Guzman, after going down in the count 0-2, has worked it all the way back to 3-2, and you got to be careful if you're Josh Mason here. Mason with 71 pitches, pitch number 72, just missing on the outside half, and a one-out walk. Continue to have the Corns rolling as we head to the top the top of the Unicorn order, and Spencer Ibarra.
Guzman doing his job here tonight. First at bat doubled. Second at bat draws a walk after falling behind 0-2. So Guzman doing a great job in that 9-hole. Still no action in that Mammoths bullpen though.
So Mason's going to have to want to retire Ibarra here. You don't want to go back and forth into this Unicorn lineup, you got Ibarra on the night, had that almost home run before he was robbed by Drew Kitson to lead this game off, had that RBI single that drove in Guzman back in the third. Carter Grote looming on deck, but what a shot there from Ibarra. It'll go about 30 feet foul, but that one, solid 370 feet at least.
Talk about turning on a baseball. That thing went nearly behind him.
Just a tad early was Mr. Ibarra, so if you're him now, you try and sit on a pitch, take it to left field, and maybe you'll even up your timing and put one square up the middle. But instead, fouls it off, out of play. He was early once again on that, count 1-2.
The Unicorns have been barreling up Mason all night, but this Mammoths defense has came to play tonight. Kitson making that spectacular play in the center, and 2 double plays turned up the middle by the Mammoths, so Mason getting a lot of help behind him.
Yeah, David Kimbrough II also playing well over there at third base. And then right on cue, the first baseman, Brandon Cuddy, making a nice stop as you weren't sure if that ball was fair or foul. It was called fair by the home plate umpire, Mr. Gary Wagenschutz. And he actually retires Ibarra over there at first base for the 3U putout for out number 2. He tried to get Guzman over there at second base for the 3-6 double play, but too much speed from Guzman gets him into scoring position, and that'll bring up Carter Grote.
Next up for the Unicorns, elected number 9, Carter Grote.
So Carter Grote 0 for 2 on the night, a fly out to center, a ground out to short, but this one, it's going to be a tough play for Tommy Fiesel on the track in front of the wall. He makes the catch on the run and keep the Mammoths out in front by 2. We head to the home half of the 5th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett here for this broadcast. 4-2 your score. Westside Woolly Mammoths out in front of this one. Drew Kitson, Brandon Cuddy, and Tyler Pagano due up for the Woolly Mammoths here in this home half of the 5th. Kitson on the night, 0 for 1 with a strikeout, a walk, and a stolen base. Line drive shot out there to left field. Carter Grote will make a few steps to his left and in and come up with the baseball for out number 1. Line out to left field, retires Kitson for out number 1.
Pitch to contact if you're Will Marshall. He's been doing it all season long. Another great example of it here tonight. Fastball on the outside part of the plate, forcing Kitson to shoot it up in the air. Nice play out there by Carter Grote.
So Grote retires Kitson for out number 1, and now Brandon Cuddy steps up to the plate. 0 for 1 on the night, but has walked and scored a run. He came in to score on that 3-run home run off the bat of Jalen Lawson. Brandon Cuddy, the beer batter of the game, man out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, trying to get the Mammoths going here in this home half of the 5th. 0-1 pitch in on the hands of Cuddy, but he checked his swing and held back just in time. Count evens up at 1-1.
Still looking for his first hit on the year. If you're going to get one against anyone here, it's definitely going to be against Will Marshall. As he
Look at that, right on cue. You ask and you shall receive. Base knock down that right field line, but nice job there from Ibarra to get to that baseball really quickly. Throws that ball into second base on a dime. Cuddy held to just a single there, but like you mentioned, Luke, his first hit of his professional career. So shout out to Mr. Cuddy right there. Get that baseball back in and toss it to that third base dugout, as Will Marshall will try to get a double play in store here, as Pagano, the designated hitter, stands in for the 3rd time tonight. Singled and scored in that 3rd inning where Lawson had that 3-run homer. And look at that pitch from Marshall. Looked to be a 2-seamer in on the hands, just dropped right underneath the swinging bat of Pagano. Nice job right there. Not only is it good to deceive hitters and have them swing right over it, but if he does in fact make contact on it, better believe it's going to be a soft ground ball that could lead to 2. Cuddy over there on first base. No stolen bases to his credit just yet this season. Like you mentioned, just had his first hit. Did walk and score back in the 3rd inning, but not a giant threat out on the base pass. Marshall steps. This ball hit over there to third base, the hot corner. Larkin Guilfoyle dives to make the stop, throws it over to second to retire Brandon Cuddy, but the relay to first not in time to get Pagano. So he'll reach with the fielder's choice as Cuddy is retired via the 5-4 putout for out number 2. That brings up Ethan Whisker, our 1-800-Hanson's player of the game. He singled and scored a run back in the 2nd and then flew out to left field back in the 3rd. So 3rd plate appearance here for the right fielder, trying to continue this inning for the Woolly Mammoths. Marshall trying to retire him, as there's the slider that just slid out of the way of the strike zone to bring the count to 1-0. Pitch hit on a line to the right fielder Ibarra, and he retires Ethan Whisker for the 3rd and final out. And just like that, we're through 5. Westside Woolly Mammoths out in front of the Utica Unicorns, 4-2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Ward leading the way here for the Utica Unicorns in this top half of the sixth. Got Dan Ward, Chris Allen, and Jimmy Latona due up here for the Corns in this top half of the sixth inning. Josh Mason back out on the bump for his sixth inning of work, and that is officially his longest outing of the season. If he can get one out recorded here. There is some action stirring in the Westside bullpen. So just in case Mason starts to run into a little bit of trouble, his teammates will be there to back him up. Meanwhile, Dan Ward on the 2-1 offer fouls one off into the protective netting here behind home plate. Count even at 2-2, but Mr. Mason with 81 pitches here in this sixth inning. If you're the Mammoths, you'll take 6 strong from the right-hander. Of course, you'll take 7, but just sort of depends on how he can attack these next few hitters.
Won't be easy with Ward, Allen, and Latona all due up this inning. But Mason's been doing a great job of keeping these Unicorns off balance.
As this ball is hit into that right center gap, Ethan Whisker ranging to his right, makes the play with ease. 1 up and 1 down here for the Unicorns in the top half of the sixth. So Chris Allen now stands in 0 for 1 on the night, grounded out to third base in the fourth, reached on a walk back in the first inning. Allen had batted in the same cleanup spot last night against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, went 0 for 2, but did have a walk and a run scored. This ball hit right up the middle past the ranging shortstop Jordan Thomas, and first hit of the night for Chris Allen. 1 out base knock, leading up to Jimmy Latona, who's standing up at the plate now.
Great job by Allen to get the barrel through the zone quickly. Got his hips through there as well to barrel it up back up the middle. Mason just slipped the fastball a bit too high, left it around belt buckle level. Perfect piece of hitting right there by Chris Allen.
So we have the number in the bullpen for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. It's number 24, Joel Sharon, the man out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You wonder how long Mr. Mason will last here. If he can get a ground ball double play, might be able to come back out for the 7th, but time will tell just how this night will end up for Mr. Mason, playing with that 2-run lead, tying run at the plate. After a leadoff ball to Jimmy Latona, a called strike gets tossed in there, evens the count up at 1-1. Latona batted in the 2-hole last night, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a walk. 0 for 2 thus far tonight with a strikeout and a flyout to dead center. But the one thing I've noticed from Latona that he probably will need to correct a little bit, Latona swinging really early on some of these pitches, and when he has made contact, it's either gone foul towards the left side of the field or he pops it up. As Latona with an opportunity here, down in the count 1-2, fastball high and outside, good eye to even the count up at 2-2. Brandon Larkin-Gafoyle looming on deck, 1 out, 1 man on here in this top of the 6th inning. Corns trying to get back the 2 runs as Jalen Lawson, the man out there at second base for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, had that 3-run homer back in the 3rd. Westside with a run in the 2nd, the 3 in the 3rd. The Unicorns with a run in the 3rd and 1 in the 5th. This ball hit in on the hands of Latona out there into left center field, where Thomas Fiesel will make the catch for out number 2. That fly out. An easy play there for Fiesel. Latona retired for the 3rd time tonight.
That'll probably be it for Mason as McCaddy makes his way out there. You know Josh is going to plead his case, though. He just needs 1 more out to go 6 strong. Let's see what McCaddy has to say about it, because he definitely knows best, as his dad was the pitching coach for the Washington Nationals for about 9 years.
And now part of the White Sox organization, of course. And, in fact, it will be the day for Josh Mason. Talked about how this was the longest start of the season. He went 5 innings on May the 15th against the Beavers and then got a victory in a 2-inning relief appearance back on the 19th. But his day is officially done here on the mound for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. He'll give way to Joel Sharon. Joel Sharon on the season, he's made just 2 appearances in relief. He's pitched just .2 innings. He's given up 2 earned runs. He's got 5 walks, so to no strikeouts as well. So 5 strikeouts to no walks. Not the combination you would like, but let's take a look here at what Mr. Mason has done. He goes 5 2/3 on the night. He allowed 6 hits to his credit, gives up the 2 earned runs. He threw 3 walks and then had, let's check it here, 2 strikeouts. So the final line, one more time for Mr. Mason, 5.2 innings, 2 earned runs on 6 hits, 3 walks, and 2 Ks. Not a bad night for Mr. Mason. That solo shot off the bat of Erlinson, and then the RBI single from Ibarra back in the 3rd that drove in Adrian Guzman. Have the Mammoths still ahead here by 2 runs, and Joel Sharon, the man out of Concordia University, trying to get his numbers to a more respectable level, as he's got a good opportunity here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th to try and get out of this jam. Man that will be standing in on the mound is Brandon Larkin Gafoyle, who is a switch hitter, the only switch hitter in this lineup for the Unicorns. He had been batting from the left side in the first 2 at-bats, and now switching over to the right side. You wonder if a little bit of a chess match going on here. You had Josh Mason out there, the right-hander, and now the man on the mound, Mr. Joel Sharon, the lefty. First pitch he sees, hit to the right side of the infield. Jalen Lawson with the easy pickup, and he lost it underhand to his middle infield partner, Jordan Thomas, for the 3rd and final out. So Joel Sharon doing his job, 1 pitch, 1 out, and we're through 5.5 here at Jimmy John's Field. Mammoths out in front of the Corns, 4-2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for tonight's broadcast. Westside Woolly Mammoths out in front of the Utica Unicorns by a score of 4-2, and it's all courtesy of the man at the plate, Mr. Jalen Lawson. A 3-run home run in his last plate appearance, drove in himself, Tyler Pagano, and Brandon Cuddy. And that has the Mammoths out in front of this one, the story of the night thus far. See if Lawson can continue his good night. Reached on a walk back in the 2nd inning as well, so yet to have been retired is Mr. Lawson. But just like that, Will Marshall, who had a really nice inning in the 5th, and in the fourth. A 1-2-3 inning in the fourth, and then 4 batters faced in the fifth. Continuing right where he had left off, there's a slider that slid well, just a little bit too late for home plate umpire Gary Wagenschutz's liking. Lawson stays alive in the count here as sun starting to set here in Utica, Michigan. It's been a great night for baseball, beautiful weather. And look at that play being made by the second baseman, Mr. Dylan Sprague. One second baseman hitting it to another. Lawson retired for the first time tonight. That's a nice job defensively from Sprague to come up with that one. We had to react quick. Range to his right. Makes the catch, laying it out for out number 1. That leads to Jordan Thomas.
As a baseball fan, this game's been great to watch. You know, there's about 4 or 5 web gems that have been performed here tonight. First play of the game, a few dive-in plays for the Unicorns, and, you know, it's been a great game to watch. 2 great pitchers going at it. Will Marshall coming on strong.
As Jordan Thomas was trying to add to this great night. First pitch he sees, fastball inside, fouls it off, but had some pop to it. Thomas on the night, 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, so trying to avoid that. Sombrero will be the shortstop out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Thomas with 3 hits on the season thus far. Looks at ball 1 to even the count up at 1-1. Infield, outfield at normal depth. Second baseman Dylan Sprague playing sort of in that outfield grass. This one hit over to the left side of the infield, though, where Adrian Guzman will make the play with ease. 6-3 putout retires Jordan Thomas, and now Jackson Smith, who's 1 for 2 on the night with an RBI single and a fly out to left, stands in.
Will Marshall continuing to pound the zone. Fastball, the 2-seamer with the slider as well. You know it's a good sign when you've gone 230. You've only faced 9 batters, so you know it's a good sign. He's only given up 1 hit. So Will Marshall continues to pound the zone.
Pounding the zone and pounding the leather. Will Marshall, he pitches to contact, and it's good contact. It's going right to his fielders. Everybody making plays for the Unicorns, but they trail this one by 2 runs. We head to the 7th inning. Mammoths out in front, 4-2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett for your broadcasting purposes tonight. Leading the way for the Unicorns in the top half of the 7th inning. It'll be the 7-hitter, Justin Erlinson, coming off a nice at-bat. Solo shot home run that led off the 5th inning, so we'll see what he can do to lead off this 7th here. Ahead in the count, 0-2 as he looks at that fastball that almost got a piece of his feet. Dodges out of the way of that one and is ahead in the count here 2-0.
Longest at bat tonight for Justin. his first 2 at bats were only 1 pitch. Both of them base hits, especially that bomb that he had last at bat. So Justin doing a great job tonight, especially out in center field. He's making a lot of plays.
3-0 pitch, called strike. Erlinson thought he had a base on balls, but instead, home plate umpire Gary Wagenschutz bringing him back to the batter's box. He'll have to at least see one more pitch here. And that one nowhere near the zone, so Joel Sharon here on the bump in his technically 2nd inning of work. He only had the .1 inning where he had retired Brandon Larkin Gafoyle on 1 pitch to end the 6th inning, but starts off this 7th with a leadoff walk to Erlinson. He gives way to the 8-hole hitter, the lefty, the second baseman, Dylan Sprague. So a lefty-on-lefty matchup. Advantage for pitch 1 goes to Joel Sharon. Man over on first base is Erlinson. Erlinson on the season, no stolen bases to his credit. You know he does have some speed, so we'll see if Erlinson tries to take a bag here in this one. Sprague, meanwhile, looking at another pitch, down in the count here, 0-2. Tough start as he's shaking his head, trying to avoid his 2nd strikeout of the night. It's been a tough one thus far for the left-hander. A 4-6-3 double play put out back in the 2nd, and then a strikeout looking in the 5th. He'll do it here once again. Back-to-back strikeouts via the backwards K. Down going on 3 pitches is Sprague for out number 1.
Yeah, Sprague not looking all that comfortable in the batter's box to start this season. He has a 43 batting average. Yes, you heard that right. It is 43. But bright side you can take out of it, he's been walked 7 times, so you know he's seen the ball. Just a matter of time before Dylan breaks loose. You know he's driving the ball all across the outfield, so you know, just a matter of time, a few more at-bats, I'd give it for Dylan Sprague to get his thing going.
So now Adrian Guzman will stand in. Guzman trying to continue this inning for the Unicorns. And he's done a pretty good job so far tonight. Doubled and came around to score back in the 3rd and reached on a walk on a full count at-bat that he had. So he's seeing his pitches. He's getting on base, doing literally exactly everything you could ask somebody. We talked about Erlinson with the home run and the single coming into that last at-bat. He hadn't seen many pitches. 2 different guys, 2 different types of approaches, but both of them are working. If you're the Mammoths, though, you would love to see a ground ball turn into 2. As this backdoor breaking ball did not get enough of the strike zone, apparently, called by Mr. Wagenschutz. Good call behind the dish as Sharon tried to freeze Guzman on that backdoor breaking ball, but like we talked about Guzman's good eye all night long, there it is once again. Fastball painting that outside corner. Guzman looks at it, evens the count up at 2-2.
His last at bat, he was down 0-2. Drew a walk. This time now, fell behind 0-2, evens the count at 2-2 now.
This ball hit over to the left side. The 6, the 4 to 3. Look at that. Joel Sharon doing his job right on cue, and that one retires the Unicorns in the top half of the 7th. We head to the home half. It's stretch time here at Jimmy John's Field. If you're at home, stand up, stretch it out, and join us for the singing of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Luke Hammett here as we head to the home half of the 7th inning. Bottom of this Westside lineup. Due up, we got David Kimbrough II. Leading up to the top of the order, Thomas Fiesel. And then Drew Kitson due up for the Mammoths here in this home half of the 7th. But a little bit of a cross-up between the battery, Mr. Will Marshall and Jimmy Latona. Latona looked to have gotten rocked right in the noggin there, but seems to be just fine, so he'll continue on here. Kimbrough II 0 for 2 on the night with a couple of flyouts, one to center and one to right. Count 1-2 on the batter. There is a little action brewing down that left field bullpen for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. You wonder if Joel Sharon's night is done after the inning and a third of work. We'll let you know who that is down in the left field bullpen when we find out. Meanwhile, David Kimbrough II with a hard line drive hit over to the left side of the diamond, but Adrian Guzman, are you kidding me? Ranging to his left on the run with a spin. He can do it all. Finishes the play and rifles one over to first to retire David Kimbrough II, who is not slow. He's got speed as well, so impressive play there from Adrian Guzman to get out number one here.
They had a lot of front spin on that, so you saw Guzman. He noticed that, took a few steps back into the outfield grass, fielded it on the hop, turned and made a spectacular play. Looked just like Derek Jeter out there at short.
And Tommy Fiesel, meanwhile, on the first pitch he sees, grounds out over there to second base for the second out. But before we get to Drew Kitson, I want to clarify something. I was actually told by Tommy Fiesel's father, Mr. Tom Fiesel, that actually as a part of Tommy's progress and a part of his issues that he had an AVM, which was congenital. He was actually born with it, and that the concussion that he had was a lucky injury because it had actually prompted the doctors to perform an MRI, and then the AVM was in fact discovered. So Tommy was pretty fortunate in that circumstance. So fortunate that Mr. Fiesel is alive and well and playing here with this Westside Woolly Mammoth team. And he does have 4 groundouts tonight, but has been a crucial part of this team's success through the first 2 years that it has been in existence. Meanwhile, Drew Kitson, who's been spectacular defensively tonight, looking for his first hit of the evening. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a walk, also a stolen base to his credit.
Will Marshall has officially lasted longer than Tyler Schwanz has in the starting pitcher for the Unicorns, with 3 innings. Now Will Marshall 3 2/3. Now he's just 1 pitch away from going 4 strong for the Unicorns out of this bullpen.
Yeah, it's been probably the most impressive thing we've seen here tonight. Outside of that catch from Kitson, of course, but overall as a performance, this man Will Marshall is really doing it for the Unicorns, and he's really given them a case to try and come back in this game. They just haven't been able to yet. And really outside of that 3-run home run that was thrown to Lawson, Unicorns have played a really well-pitched game.
Not just well pitched, meaning they're hitting the baseball very hard, but you know, the Mammoths have been playing spectacular defense, and the Unicorns also have been. You just saw Guzman make a great play up the middle. We've been seeing all night, especially from Erlinson. It's just been a great baseball game. We just mentioned in the break that, you know, this is just a great game to watch.
Meanwhile, that 2-2 pitch just missing. Looked like it was over the heart of the plate, but must have been just a tad low for Gary Wagenschutz's liking. Count 3-2. Payoff pitch will ensue. Nobody on the base pass, so nobody will be going anywhere. But if you're Will Marshall and the Unicorns, you definitely want to try and get out of this jam unscathed. The payoff pitch misses inside, so not done just yet. Kitson reaches for the second time tonight via the walk, and he gives way to Brandon Cuddy, who's having a pretty decent night. Single, walk, and a run scored.
If you're Will Marshall, you're going to keep a close eye out there at first base. Kitson has already swiped second base here tonight. So if you're Will, throw over a couple times. Keep Kitson honest over there at first.
Just got word from broadcasting intern Mr. Jared Katz. That's number 16, Josh Mollett, out there in the bullpen for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. You wonder if Joel Sharon's night is done or if he'll get another opportunity in the top half of the 8th inning. Meanwhile, Brandon Cuddy in the first pitch he sees fouls off and out of play. Cuddy on the night, like we mentioned, a single, a walk, and a run scored. Having some productive at-bats. He's seen a lot of pitches here tonight. Each at-bat, he's seen at least 3. The man out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, trying to pad onto this 2-run lead, give some more insurance, but it'll be tough against Will Marshall, who's been incredible out of this Utica bullpen. On that 0-1 pitch, Jimmy Latona trying to frame up that fastball that Marshall missed just low, but a good pitch and a better eye there from Cuddy and not chase after the 0-1 fastball that missed just low. That one inside almost looked like it got a piece of Cuddy, but it in fact did not. Kitson, like we mentioned, already a stolen base on the night. On the season, Kitson has 3 stolen bases. And he's looking for 4 right here. 2-1 pitch, he's going. This one hit to left field. It'll be enough to get out. It actually ricocheted off the bump out there, the pitcher's mound, in the left field bullpen. And it looked like it might have bounced and one-hopped right into the legs of the man trying to warm up. So got to be on your toes wherever you are here at the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
I believe we're safe in here, though.
Oh, yeah. Protective netting right in front of us. We also got a few windows.
2-2 pitch, slider that misses low. So a really nice eye in this at-bat from Brandon Cuddy. He's worked himself into a full count. So, of course, Kitson will be going on the first movement from Will Marshall. We just saw Jimmy Latona step out in front of home plate, relay in action to his infielders. You wonder if maybe it was assigned to Marshall to pick off to first, or he will end up going home with it. Ground ball hit to the right side. Going to have to go over to first with it. Sprague to Ward for the 3rd and final out. We're through 7 here at Jimmy John's Field. Mammoths out in front, 4-2 ahead of the Unicorns. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. To the 8th we go. Unicorns trailing the Mammoths 4-2. Spencer Ibarra, the leadoff hitter for this Unicorn team, starting things in this top of the 8th inning. It'll be Ibarra, Grote, and Ward due up. On the evening, Ibarra was robbed of that leadoff home run by the center fielder, Drew Kitson, in the first inning, singled back in the third, and grounded out to first base in the fifth. Hits a fly ball that ends up getting out of the range of that first baseman, Mr. Brandon Cuddy, as well as Jalen Lawson and Ethan Whisker. All three of the fielders doing their best to try and get to that baseball. Me and all the other broadcasting interns here at the ballpark, we talk about how this field is shaped, kind of like that Oakland Coliseum with all of that open space in the foul territory. And my goodness, Spencer Ibarra, before that pitch was even thrown, was thinking about swinging. That one was very inside on the hands, and he couldn't do anything with that pitch, but he did, in fact, go after it. Ground ball chopped over to the left side. It was going to be a tough play for Jordan Thomas to start with, and he could not, in fact, come up with it. So a hard hit ball will be a leadoff base runner for this Unicorn team. That one's going down in the books as an E6. So we'll see if that comes back to haunt the Mammoths here. Now the tying run at the plate in Mr. Carter Grote.
And you saw Jordan Thomas back up on it because of the hop. Then he realized that he had to hurry with, especially with a bar running down the line. He hurried it, just couldn't watch it all the way into the glove, and unfortunately that's going to lead to an error in a leadoff base runner here for the Unicorns.
Grote standing in from the right side, looks at a ball to begin this at-bat. Grote on the night, 0 for 3, couple of flyouts and a ground out, opportunity for 2, and in a redemption try. Look at that. You screw up, ball's hit to you right again. Jordan Thomas making up for that last blunder. He gets 2 with 1, and that's another Trico double play. Got to be happy if you're the man on the mound, Mr. Josh Mollett, who we need to mention out here on the bump for the Westside Woolly Mammoths here in this top of the 8th inning. He relieves Joel Sharon, who goes 1.1 innings, allows no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Mr. Mollett on the season in his 3rd relief appearance for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. 2 innings under his belt, 2 hits, no walks, 1 strikeout. But most importantly, no runs with that 0.00 ERA. Grote grounds out into the 6-3 double play. 2 up and 2 down for the Unicorns. Meanwhile, Dan Ward on that slider makes contact but can't put it in the field of play.
Grote's grounded 2 of those double plays, I believe, tonight.
Yep. It's a tough outing for Grote. Both of them were actually the 6-3 variety. So Ibarra was retired a couple different times on those 6-3 putouts, and Dan Ward on 3 straight pitches is retired as well. The swing and the miss retire the Unicorns in order in the top of the 8th inning. We head to the home half. Mammoths out in front by 2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Luke Hammett here with you. Westside Woolly Mammoths out in front, 4-2 over the Utica Unicorns. Big part of that, the 3-run homer from Jalen Lawson back in the 3rd inning. Once Jalen Lawson had that home run off of Tyler Schwann's, Will Marshall was given the ball. He actually did a really tremendous job in relief for the Unicorns. He went from the 4th inning all the way through the 7th, 4 innings under his belt. He allowed just 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 walk, and did not need a strikeout to retire the Westside Woolly Mammoths in this one. He gives way to Mr. Chris Dula. Let's hear a little bit about him, Mr. Luke Hammett.
Chris Dula is making his 5th appearance this season for the Unicorns. He's gone 3 2/3, 4 hits, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts, posting a 4.91 ERA. Chris Dula throws absolute gas. He's hit 100 miles an hour this season. I definitely would not want to stand in the box against this guy.
Yeah, no, both of us are pitchers. I don't know how much you hit on your high school team, 0. So
yeah, no
there you
offense.
go. Both of us more comfortable on the mound, and I could not imagine standing in the batter's box facing off against a guy who can hit triple digits, and you saw it very evident right there. That pitch on the 0-1 fastball right down the heart of the plate, and Tyler Pagano could do absolutely nothing with it except foul it off as he reacted late, as most guys would here in this league, to something via the 100-mile-an-hour mark. Is that 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Good eye by Pagano to stay alive here in this count. Pagano has reached base safely twice out of his 3 at-bats so far tonight. A single and a run scored in the 3rd, reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th, but did have a strikeout to begin his night back in the 1st inning, and he'll start his night how he might end it. Strikeout via the swing and the miss. 1 up, 1 down for the Mammoths, and that'll give way to Ethan Whisker.
You know, I love seeing it. More and more guys are, they're throwing a lot harder these days. More guys are hitting triple digits. In the major leagues, the starting pitchers are hitting 100 miles an hour in the 1st inning of work. Justin Verlander back in 2012, he used to do that in the 7th and 8th inning.
As he went along, he got better as he went. No doubt about that. Unicorns trying to keep this deficit to just 2, and that'll work. Ethan Whisker, for the first time tonight, retired via the lineout. He had 2 flyouts and a single and a run scored coming into that at-bat, but a nice job by Brandon Larkin-Gafoyle to react to that one on a dime. 2 up, 2 down, and Jalen Lawson, the reason for the Mammoths' 2-run lead, stands in here now. A good night for the man out of Troy, Alabama. Walked and got to 3rd base back in the 2nd, had that 3-run homer in the 3rd, and then in his last at-bat, lined out to the 2nd baseman, Dylan Sprague, but Lawson dodging out of that one. That ball almost drilled him, so he stays alive in the count against Dula. That 1-0 pitch fouled off, count even at 1-1, but Chris Dula on the season, it's his 2nd season with this Utica Unicorn team. 2017, 10 appearances in relief, 11 innings, a 1-0 record, 3 hits, 8 walks, 11 strikeouts, maintained a 3.27 ERA in 2017. The 1-1 fastball missing outside, and so far this year in 4 relief appearances, 3.2 innings for the right-hander out of Catawba. He's given up 4 hits in those 3.2 innings, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Given up 2 earned runs. That was back in his first outing on May the 16th against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. He did have a relief outing back against these Westside Woolly Mammoths on May the 19th, where he went an inning, allowed 2 runs, but neither of them were earned. Just the 1 hit, 1 walk, did have 3 strikeouts. So the Mammoths haven't done that well against him so far this year. The count 2-2 on Jalen Lawson. That pitch, slider just missing. Had some late breaking action that forced it to leave the strike zone at the last second. Lawson, a really great at-bat and a good night if he can get a positive result here in this at-bat.
Oh, yeah, he's had a few great at-bats tonight, one of them leaving the ballpark.
And look at that, right on cue. Lawson continues his strong outing. 2nd walk of the night keeps the Mammoths in charge here in the home half of the 8th with 2 outs, and Jordan Thomas standing in.
This is a huge confidence booster for Jalen Lawson. We mentioned he was hitting 167 coming into tonight's ballgame. He's got his average up to 250 now with that home run, 2 walks, 3 RBIs. So Lawson knows how to get on base. You know, he just needs a few more of these games to get himself going. I'm sure a few big league programs are going to keep an eye on Jalen Lawson.
Yeah, Lawson, a really complete player. He's shown the leather out on the diamond today. Clearly has the power, even though he's just about 6 feet tall. He's got the speed, clearly. It's evident. He's shown that. When you have speed and you have power and can also play the field defensively, a recipe for success indeed. As you see, Lawson on that 0-1 pitch was trying to take second base. Thomas, meanwhile, fouls it off. So not sure if it was a straight steal or if it was a hit and run opportunity there for the Mammoths, but instead we'll do it all over again. The count 0-2 on Thomas. Unicorns desperately trying to get out of this 8th inning without any more damage done, as they will have the 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up in the top half of the 9th inning in their final try here tonight. No action in that Westside bullpen, so you wonder if Josh Mollett will get that 2-inning save opportunity here tonight. As the 0-2 pitch thrown from Dula, slider inside, almost got a piece of Thomas. We've seen that a little bit here so far with Dula. He almost got Lawson and now almost getting Thomas, but we mentioned how he can get up to those triple digits, and it's kind of just going to happen. It's one thing that leads to another. You got more speed, it's harder to control, but on that 1-2 slider, Thomas swings right through it. It's his 3rd strikeout of the night, and the Mammoths still lead by 2 as we're through 8 innings of play here at the ballpark at Jimmy John's Field. We head to the 9th. Unicorns with their final opportunity here in this one. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. To the 9th we go. Mike McGee out for the Westside Woolly Mammoths on the bump in a save situation. Westside Woolly Mammoths out in front of the Utica Unicorns by a score of 4-2. It'll be Chris Allen, Jimmy Latona, and Brandon Larkin-Gafoyle to be the last stand here for the Unicorns in this top of the 9th inning. Allen with a good start here against Mike McGee, the closer for now for this Westside team. 2-0 pitch, misses low. So Chris Allen working thus far against McGee, the left-hander out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home, of course, of the Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, as Allen looks at nothing but balls, 4 straight of them, in fact. That is his second walk of the night. It's 1 for 2 with a single and 2 walks. So a nice night thus far for Chris Allen. But if he can get a run scored to his credit, that would be even better for him. Jimmy Latona due up now with an 0 for 3 night, 2 flyouts and a strikeout. So Jimmy Latona is due.
And unfortunately for Mike McGee, we've seen him give the free pass to a few guys this year. Last outing, he had 3 walks. He had 3 runs against him in just a third of an inning. So Mike McGee kind of needs a good inning here to get that confidence back up.
Yeah, just a short 6 days ago against these Unicorns. A really tough outing, but that ERA can only go down from here, as that is, let's count it, 6 straight, ladies and gentlemen, or 7 straight now. So struggles continuing here for McGee, as there is a right-hander getting loose out in that Westside bullpen, but he finds the strike zone. Latona did not like that call necessarily, but McGee's still going to have to work here in a tough situation. 3-1 fastball in the zone, so battling back here now, as in the bullpen for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, it is their, in fact, closer. It's Gavin Collins. He has, I believe, 1 save to his credit so far this season, and in fact he does. So in an emergency situation, they'll bring in Collins. They're going to try and save him for another game, but might have to come out here now as back-to-back walks have the Unicorns in motion.
And they're going to go get him right now, I think.
Yep, Shane McCaddy, the manager of this Westside team, coming out. McCaddy in his 2nd season as the Westside Woolly Mammoth manager. Of course, assistant coach to Jim Essien in year 1 with the USPBL champion Unicorns back in 2016. He was the Nats' 34th round pick back in 2009. Like you mentioned earlier, Luke, his father, was a former player in the Oakland A's organization and a pitching coach with the Washington Nationals. He's now with the Chicago White Sox. So a long bloodline of baseball in that family. Westside Woolly Mammoths got a good one at the helm of their team. And it looks like he's going to end up holding on here to Mr. Mike McGee. Of course, this will probably be his, no, it will be his last batter if he does not retire Brandon Larkin-Gafoyle, who is 0 for 3 on the night, a line out, a fly out, and a ground out. The only thing he's missing is a strikeout, as the Westside Woolly Mammoths could desperately use a double play here. Meanwhile, another ball thrown by McGee, and you really wonder how short that leash is.
I think very right now. If he does not get Gafoyle, I'm sure McCaddy won't hesitate to bring in Collins.
This ball hit high, but it'll stay in the park. Thomas Fiesel trying to find it. It's not an easy play, but he'll come up with the catch. He's having a conversation with his shortstop, Mr. Jordan Thomas, after that catch was made, but looked to be a lot tougher of a play than we might have thought, as that one probably got caught in the lights here.
Oh, yeah, Fiesel looked like he had a good jump on it, and then when the ball hit its highest point here at Jimmy John's Field, you saw him kind of hesitate, take a few steps back, and then in. Luckily making the catch for the Mammoths, and that's a good sign there for Mike McGee, but now he's got to face Erlinson here, who's having himself a great night.
Erlinson yet to be retired here this evening, so if you're the Woolly Mammoths, You really have to fight here. Erlinson has had a tremendous night at the plate. The single, the walk, the home run. And he could cap off the performance with a big one if he can put something in the gap or something over the fence. Mike McGee, the lefty, trying to get out of this gigantic jam. Home plate umpire, meanwhile, Gary Wagenschutz calling time, courtesy of Erlinson. So Erlinson gets called, or gets the time, excuse me, just in time. McGee trying to get out of this tough jam, and it's getting tougher there. That 0-1 pitch missing low and inside. Good eye by Erlinson.
Yeah, McGee trying to keep the ball low, trying to get himself a ground ball and let his ball club go home right now here in the 9th inning. So McGee doing a nice job of trying to keep it low. You just got to elevate a tad bit more.
1-1 pitch. Looked good from up here, but called the ball by the home plate umpire. So here at the USPBL, we have games every Thursday through Sunday at the ballpark, but we do have extra baseball here this Memorial Day weekend. We'll play 2 tomorrow afternoon as this ball is hit high and deep. A lot of reaction from the fans. The center fielder, Drew Kitson, can't find it, but he makes a reaction at the last second to find the baseball, and he throws the ball into third base just behind Chris Allen, who slides in safely, but back-to-back fly balls that were really tough plays. You saw first initially the left fielder, Tommy Fiesel, kind of hesitate on that fly out from Brandon Larkin Gafoyle, and then right there, Justin Erlinson with a fly out to dead center. But Drew Kitson, who has clearly showed his prowess out there defensively for this Westside team, just a really tough job finding this baseball here late with these lights in the background. And look at that, Dylan Sprague's night is done. He'll give way to Nico Lolio in a pinch hit effort. Now, I wasn't on the broadcast last night, but I believe I heard that Lolio made a pinch hit effort last night as well. So another opportunity late here in this ball game for Lolio to provide some fireworks here for the Unicorns.
This is his 3rd pinch hit opportunity for the Unicorns this year. I don't know if you remember, but his first pinch hit appearance, he hit it probably 500 feet in the air. But, you know, it's just a foot short of going out. So Lolio definitely has the pop to do it here in that left side of batter's box.
That ball high and inside. Lolio gets out of the way of that one. He actually had motioned for Chris Allen to come home at first, but then realized that the ball was right behind him. Tells him to put the brakes back on. But Lolio in a good hitter's count, ahead here 2-0 against McGee, who's trying to get out of this jam that he started with the leadoff walks. But back-to-back flyouts have retired Larkin Gafoyle and Erlinson. Lolio ahead here, 3-0. You wonder if he'll be given the green light. He will not. 3-0 pitch. Didn't look all that well from up here, but close enough for Gary Wagenschutz's liking. So McGee stays alive in the count. Shakes off his catcher Jackson Smith a couple of times. The kick, the push, fastball swung on and missed. Lolio was trying to give the Unicorns a 1-run lead with that swing, but he takes a deep breath. He'll have to shorten the swing up a little bit here with 2 strikes. There is the base open at first, but if you're Mike McGee, you want to retire Lolio before you get to Guzman, who's having a good night as well. A double and a walk and a run scored. Payoff pitch. Fastball just low. And Nico Lolio with an impressive at-bat works the full count and works the bases loaded with that base on balls. The Mammoths not out of the woods just yet.
Not sure where that one missed. Maybe a little bit low. Mike McGee definitely needs an out here. But, you know, it's not going to be easy here against Adrian. He's 1 for 1 with a double and a walk here tonight. So Guzman doing a nice job. Oh, they're pinch hitting him. Oh, no, they're not pinching. They're pinch running. Pinch running.
There is a pinch runner over there at first base. Not sure exactly who that is. In fact, we're looking for a number. And It's actually A.J. Reynolds over there at first base for the Unicorns. So he would be, in fact, the game-winning run if he can come around to score. Of course, the Mammoths, if that were to happen, would, of course, be coming up to the plate in the home half of the ninth, but still a long ways to go. If you're the Unicorns here, you got to get that runner at second base, Jimmy Latona, in to score if you want to continue this baseball game. Guzman, meanwhile, on the 1-0 pitch, fastball inside of the strike zone. Called strike, evens the count up at 1-1. Allen at third, Latona at second, Nico Lolio at first, and almost saw a run get hit in the unconventional way. Guzman almost wore that one. Got out of the way in just a nick of time, but if you're a baseball fan, sometimes you would try and wish Guzman to stay in and wear that one for the team, but here at the USPBL, if you don't attempt to get out of the way, you will not be able to move up a base, and on the line drive right to Jalen Lawson, makes the catch and ends this ball game. Guzman strands the bases loaded for the third and final out. We saw great pitching performances from Josh Mason as well as Will Marshall. Tyler Schwanz had started this game, gave up 4 earned runs in 3 innings, but Josh Mason will end up with the victory tonight. Westside Woolly Mammoths get their 4 runs in the first 3 innings, and they never looked back. Unicorns got 2 runs, 1 in the third, and then that solo shot from Erlinson in the 5th. But Jalen Lawson's 3-run home run in the home half of the third was the difference here tonight. Woolly Mammoths moving to 2-2 on the season. Utica Unicorns dropping to 3-4. It'll be a doubleheader tomorrow on our Sunday matinee contest before we get to our Memorial Day Monday. It'll be the Westside Woolly Mammoths here in action again for 2 more against the 2017 USPBL champions, the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. It'll be Sunday Fun Day with Beauty and the Beast. First game starting at 1:05. The second game a half an hour after the last pitch. We got fans ready to run the bases here at the ballpark like we have at every single game here at the USPBL. But Luke, any final thoughts here in this one? We saw a pretty good baseball game.
Well, spectacular baseball game. A lot of great defensive plays from both teams. Both teams hit the cover off the baseball. A good pitching outing from Josh Mason and Tyler Schwanz. An even better one from Will Marshall. You know, it was just a great night of baseball, and it was a great night overall here at the USPBL. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was 80s night at the ballpark. Had everybody dressed up in 80s apparel, and we had great weather. We had great baseball, and you really couldn't ask for anything more. But once again, for my broadcast partner, Luke Hammett, broadcasting intern Jared Katz up in the booth helping us out all night. My name is Rich Borland. Mammoths with their second victory of the season. It comes by the 4-2 final over the Utica Unicorns. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon for the doubleheader beginning at 1:05. It'll be me and Drew Kell on the call for both. We will have the broadcast begin right around 12:55. And once again, for everybody up here in the booth and everyone here at the USPBL, we say goodnight, and you stay classy, Utica.